Yeah, after going through the 2020 class versus the 2021 class, I was like, ugh, and then the 2022 class, it just kind of feels like the 2021 class was kind of not that deep and not that hot, Like I was thinking about while I listened to our episodes from last week, and we're talking about how awesome of a team we could have out of
With the
the
2020.
yeah, and I was like, man, you could still have an awesome team with the 2021 class. Kyle Pitts is your tight end, and then you got
Jamar Chase.
Najee and Jamar
Najee.
Chase and
Oh, dude.
Javonte.
Najee
But
and Javonte Williams with Jamar Chase and Kyle Pitts would win you a lot of leagues by themselves, probably.
for sure. Well, so who's your wide receiver two in
Uh,
there?
that's tough. I
Bateman.
guess Bateman or Waddle,
Yeah,
probably.
and
Probably
then
Bateman. Go for the upside.
right.
But then
So,
you got a
but
plethora of quarterbacks with some high upside.
yeah, but you compare him to the rookie years of Joe
Yeah, it's
Burrow,
not
Justin
Justin
Herbert.
Herbert and Joe Burrow. That's fair. Yeah,
And,
it's definitely a better class in 2020, but I really like the 2021 guys still for sure.
oh, I love him. I just remember last week when it was like, oh, who's the running back two? Is it Gibson or Swift or
Oh yeah,
Akers
that's
or
fair.
Dobbins? And we're like,
Yeah.
well, we know who the top two of each position group is. No competition.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of, no, just joking. It's 4:25 p.m. 25 for Mr. Christian, and we're doing what we do best: rehashing the past and tears of sorrow, little joy for the victory laps. Just seeing what we hit on and what we missed on, seeing what
Hmm.
the future looks like, and the topic of discussion today is the 2021 draft class.
Ooh-wee.
Woo.
Oh yeah, you know we. um, Christian was just talking about how enamored we are with all of these guys, just because of how we were really, throwing coal on the fire and just burning through everything you'd ever want to know about any of these guys last year.
Yeah.
So they got a special place in the heart. I think we got like a framed class of 21, photo on the wall, just waiting for those signatures.
Yep, 100%.
So anyway, this time around we're gonna hit the running backs and clean up with the quarterback and tight ends. So let's just jump into it as we've been doing. We go in the draft order from our own for the belt rookie draft. It is a single quarterback draft league. So here we go. Number 101 was Mr. Najee Harris, who's gained 2 pounds in the last year. So get pissed about it. Pretty awesome rookie year.
Yeah.
Yeah, 94 targets was a big highlight
It's
for him.
huge.
Yeah, absolutely. 1,200 yards, 10 touchdowns all purpose. Didn't really miss any games, and it just kind of came out and established himself as a badass. He cleaned up as far as the workload goes. Pretty much put the rest of the backfield to shame. There wasn't much to do on that front, but he managed to silence all the haters, and I don't know, kind of carried Big Ben into a respectable
Retirement.
final season.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, what do you say about this guy? I think he's a
A
stud.
stud.
Yeah.
Absolutely is a stud. I talked about Matt Forte a lot last week, and I probably should have waited on that because Swift is a decent candidate to replace Matt Forte. But listen to this shit, dude. Najee Harris, it's scary. Okay, so Matt Forte's rookie year, he had 316 rushing attempts. Najee Harris had 307. Matt Forte had 1,238 yards. Najee Harris had 1,200 yards. Matt Forte had 8 touchdowns. Najee Harris had 7 touchdowns. Matt Forte had 63 catches. Najee Harris had 74 catches. Matt Forte had 477 yards. Najee Harris had 467 yards. And Matt Forte had 4 touchdowns through the air, and Najee Harris had 3. They're the fucking same person. And why would you not want a guy who's going to end his career with close to 10,000 rushing yards and almost 5,000 receiving yards? That guy should never leave your roster. So Najee Harris is a stud because that's what you're looking for. He could even pass Matt Forte's career numbers because we're just in a higher offensive league. This is a guy you want. He does both really, really well. He's in the top 10 receiving back category, at least, probably top 5 there, and then a top 10 runner. He's just a guy you want on your roster. It's a slam dunk 1-1 pick. I think some of us, including a couple of us, maybe got a little enamored with Etienne, and I think Dan was the one that kind of reeled us back in to say that Najee was the better guy, if I remember correctly.
You do.
And, you fucking nailed it. So
okay,
For now.
starting with 1 win. Let's see if that holds up. Yeah, Najee is awesome. I mean, I even thought Javonte was superior to
I think Christian had a point.
to Etienne.
to
Or
Etienne.
to Najee. Oh, it was a really easy, quick point. I just forgot to add it on the end. I did just want to throw out Kenny Pickett last year completed 334 passes, and only 59 of those were to running backs. Now, obviously, he's going into the NFL. It's a different offense. It's a different thing. Kenny Pickett seems like a guy who's going to do what he is told to do. But I just wanted to throw that out there. I thought that was interesting that he didn't really throw to running backs all too often.
So
Which kind of a college thing.
Yeah,
and he
for
didn't
sure.
have no Najee Harris.
Yeah, for sure. I don't think it's going to hurt Najee at all. I just that was why I kind of said and then kind of went away because it's not the most major point. It's just an interesting thing I wanted to throw out.
Well, I mean, everything that comes to mind with Najee kind of echoes what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
What does this team look like without Big Ben? The shallow A dot, just the quick, half-second pocket time dump offs. No protection, no real stamina for the pocket.
yeah.
So what does it look like for Najee? Is he more of a traditional runner? Does he go back to a balanced workload? Or is he going to end up having 300 attempts and 94 targets? Because I think that he's capable of doing that. But if I'm building my football team correctly, you're not really asking him to do that.
Yeah, for sure. I don't think you would necessarily want to ask him to do it, but they may. I don't know. It's tough because they've got plenty of weapons. They don't need to rely on him. So I guess you just hope that the workload maybe goes down a little bit, but the efficiency goes up just by him not being, Ben. Let's just put it in the sand here. Kenny Pickett's going to be an upgrade over Big Ben. He's going to move the offense better than Ben did last year. I'm not saying Pickett will end up as a Hall of Famer like Big Ben, but Big Ben just wasn't who he was for his whole career last year. So this offense is just going to move better, and it just depends on if the offense moving better can kind of make up for maybe Najee not getting 94 fucking targets. Maybe he only gets 78, but he is more efficient with them and scores more because he's being left open more because Pickett can actually get the ball downfield to guys. Whereas Ben they had to put a cap on their offense at a certain point because he couldn't throw it far down the field. So you can kind of cover that front half. Pickett's going to open that back up in theory. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting. I'm with you. I think maybe Najee's targets go down, but I don't think it hurts him that much.
Okay. All right, man.
Hell yeah.
I can't argue with that. I think Najee is awesome. I traded Jonathan Taylor for Najee in first last year or something like that. So
Yeah. Well,
it's hard to say it was a bad trade. I mean, it's hard to say it was a good trade because Jonathan Taylor is,
An animal.
the supreme.
it was a good trade.
Whatever, dude. I don't trust you at this point. You're a trade partner reflecting
You
on a
gave me
trade.
Mike Davis as well, sir.
I know.
You got a first.
That's a gold nugget. All right, we're moving on to Travis Etienne. And what are you going to say about that rookie year that didn't happen? Lucky guy missed out on the Urban Meyer experience. Unlucky to be injured, but, he's a first-round running back, so he's still got 4 years with that team to make something happen. He's playing with an old friend, so we'll see how it goes. I think that he has the opportunity to play more in a wide receiver hybrid role, or just kind of I don't know what to say about him. I still think James Robinson is going to be the lead back in this backfield, so Travis Etienne's going to be relying on targets, and until we see it, it's kind of hard to get super into it.
Oh, for sure. I've got him as a hold right now. Him talking about wanting to play like Deebo Samuel has me pretty intrigued. I don't know if you guys saw him saying that, but he was saying he would love to be used in a role like that. If we can get that going and still have James Robinson going at the same time, that's a pretty interesting little backfield duo. Not sure how much it's going to translate to fantasy, but I'm with you. There's too many factors. You can't say he's a bust. Obviously, he didn't even fucking play last year through no fault of his own, just a horrible injury timing. But James Robinson hasn't gone anywhere. There's a new coach in town, which should lead to better production, but it's still new. You still want to watch it. So, yeah, I'm holding on Etienne right now. But you're right. He's going to have to rely a lot on receiving work, which, he can do. So I'm not worried about him having to rely on it. He's just got to bounce back from that injury and kind of show it on the field real fast.
Absolutely. Yeah, I don't know how to – I want to call him a starter because I think at his value right now, he's a huge buy. I think with a Doug Peterson-led offense, like we know what Doug Peterson has done. He's made pass-catching running backs extremely relevant throughout his time with the Eagles back in the day. Darren.
D. Sproles.
Mr. Sprawley's. So we see, he's not going to let a guy like this first-round draft capital never taken a snap in the NFL. Completely unpredictable. I think I'm going to lean cool. I don't put him above these other guys like I never have, but I definitely think that he's where I see him going in startups and that kind of jazz. I'm interested. Where I'm seeing James Robinson go in startups is kind of criminal, but we don't have to talk about that. That's for another.
Save that for another episode.
Yeah, no, keep that for yourself, dude.
I know it. We'll push it down.
But you already told me, so.
I know. I told the one person. Although, should we bring up my new segment called? Never mind. All right, we're going to Javonte Williams. Talk about pushing a guy down. Melvin Gordon got the 1 year, so he's back. But this is completely new offense. Not really at all. Just a new play caller, new coach, and a new signal caller in Russell Wilson under center. So Javonte, we're all very excited about him. Put up 900 yards, got the 4 touchdowns, caught a few balls, upwards of 43. So about 1,200 all-purpose yards. Not bad for sharing the backfield, kind of increasing role throughout the season. Really, really was heating up. Looked like he was about to be the number one and only in Denver. And then now, you got Melvin Gordon, which, damn, what are you going to do? It taints it a little bit. I call him a stud. Got to be a stud just because of the potential. This is a Dynasty podcast. Melvin Gordon, you're going to be dust one day, and that day may be soon. So I'm studding him out.
Oh, yeah. Javonte Williams is a stud, and I think people are overreacting to Melvin Gordon just a bit. It was a damn near like a 50-50 split last year, and I think you could see that swing to 60-40, possibly even 70-30 as Gordon gets older. But I'm enamored with Javonte Williams. I have been for a while, trying to trade Dan for him in our Superflex league, working on that. But I mean, the man finished second in the NFL in broken tackles with 63 on 203 attempts, which is 100 less than the guy that he finished number 2 in broken tackles to, which was Jonathan Taylor. Just for reference, that's a 31% missed tackle rate. 31% of the time, you can't even tackle Javonte Williams. That's the highest in the league since Marshawn Lynch in 2014 and tied for the best since 2006. His 5 yards per touch was 18th in the league. Pretty impressive for a guy that's splitting half his carries, that he's popping off for 5 yards every time he touches the ball. Javonte Williams is a stud. Any way you look at him, I think he's going to have an incredible career. And I'm super jealous of anybody that has him on their roster already.
Yeah. Stop texting me.
Oh,
I'm
damn.
just joking. You could have had him. All right.
That's true.
All right.
We did have that worked out.
Oh.
Hey,
Ooh.
Anyway, yeah, we don't have to get weird. Weirder. We don't have to get more weird. Russell Wilson comes in, and that just opens up the pass game, lightens the defensive attention to him. So all those tackles he was breaking was against, pretty heavy run defenses. And so if he can break tackles in that situation, you bet your ass he can break some safety tackles.
Yeah.
So,
Daniel over here being like, as you know, I'm saying this, and the stock is going up and up. The price is going up
Dollar
and
bills.
up and up. You hear me, Christian? You
That
hear
was
what I'm saying?
That was a sweet offer I gave you, man.
It was a sweet offer. I think the value of your offer, I would rather I can get into that on another episode.
Okay, yep. We waffling. Oh man, speaking of waffles, chicken and waffles, pretty good stuff. I don't know if you guys are into that kind of thing.
I am. Chicken waffles is very good.
Hell yeah. Well, we'll just go have a bite to eat and call this an episode. Wrap it up. Because it gets a little murky. Coming up on Michael Carter. And just to give you guys a little rundown, we are now outside of the top 5 of our rookie draft. We took a big jump from number 5 at Javonte Williams to number 12 with Michael Carter. So the 112 here, decent, pretty good, exciting rookie year. North of 600 yards on the ground, 4 touchdowns, had 36 catches. Teasing that, whatever, about 950 all-purpose yards. Not bad for an offense that was figuring it out. There was some extra competition between Tevin Coleman and
Don't you say it.
Yeah.
Don't say it.
All
Don't
right.
say his name.
Ty Johnson, and I won't say the other name, But now Breece Hall comes into town.
Yeah.
Tapping on the shoulder, saying thank you for keeping this backfield warm. Now it's about to get real hot, and that's because of me, not because of you. So second fiddle to Bell Cow Capital, Bell Cow Pedigree, Bell Cow Size, Bell Cow Production.
It's kind of the worst case for Michael Carter. Because I got him as a hold here because of Breece Hall, not because of Michael Carter, the player. I think he's an awesome player. I think if you could have gotten a guy to supplement Michael Carter, then he would have been a starter in my mind 100%. He does something different to the typical type runner. But with the addition of Breece Hall, it kind of forces him into like a Nyheim Hines type role, which is a knock on where I thought his value would be. Now he's got to be that guy. He's got to be Nyheim Hines to Breece Hall's Jonathan Taylor. And that's not what I was thinking at the end of the year. I would not have in a million years thought the Jets would take Breece Hall because Michael Carter is a really good player. But I don't see him as the same type of player now because Breece Hall, even if they plan on splitting that backfield, Breece Hall is just too damn good. Eventually his talent is going to win out and Michael Carter is going to see the field less and less and less. And Michael Carter isn't a great football player, so I think he's going to be able to take advantages of those opportunities. It's just, is he going to get enough opportunities to make him a viable starter? I don't think so. Not anymore. Which sucks. I stand by having guys like Hines and JD McKissick on your roster. I've got fucking both of them in our for the belt league. So I like guys like that, but I just kind of was hoping Michael Carter would be more than that. And I think he just had his wings clipped a little bit with the addition of Breece Hall.
Well said. Yeah, I mean, pre-draft, I was thinking like Zamir White would be a good fit here, supplemental. And then in that case, I still would have been calling Michael Carter a starter, but
100%.
now like, yeah, it's more like a hold my beer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. He's great, but he's right back in that North Carolina style role where he's, number 2 in a big way.
Mm-hmm.
So too bad.
It is sad.
It was a cool story, man. I liked him. Still think he should have went to Cincinnati. That would have been perfect. But anyway, next up, speaking of perfect, it's Trey Sermon. I was a proud drafter of Trey Sermon. I got him at the 2-1, which was pretty cool. I was extremely pumped about it because, he came out of Ohio State, and he really, really, really was on one that second half of the year. But, that was pretty much where it stopped for him. He didn't really get a lot of love. He had 41 carries for 167 yards. And then they drafted Ty Davis Price. Pretty high draft capital considering. Similar size and ability. And, in addition to being in the doghouse, he also got outplayed by Elijah Mitchell in a nasty way. And so you just kind of have to pour one out for your homies that drafted Trey Sermon. He's a bust.
Yeah.
It's hard to say.
I take no joy in saying that he is, for sure, because obviously it's fun on this podcast. We like to make fun of the whole Elijah Mitchell, Trey Sermon situation. But I like Trey Sermon as a player. And, the 2-1 pick kind of makes it hard to not call it a bust because you can get some pretty premium value at that spot. And then, exactly what you're talking about. He gets the injury. He has almost zero production. Then the weird, off the field issues. He's sitting out games healthy. What's going on? And then they add Ty Davis Price. It's just a bad situation. Hopefully, maybe Sermon can bounce out of San Francisco, maybe get a fresh start somewhere else, and maybe kind of put it together. But as of right now, he's definitely got to be a bust.
Yeah, he's working against history. You don't really just bounce back from something like that,
No, it would be tough. It would be quite the story if he was able to come back, and I hope he can. I hope all these guys do good, obviously, but I don't see it.
Forget that, man. Javion Hawkins don't do good. What did I say earlier? Yeah, I said one day that Melvin Gordon was going to be dust. So I'm not saying anything nice about anybody today. Apparently, we're rolling into the next one. Chubba Hubbard. We skip a lot of spots here to the 2-8, and I know you like Chubba. I'll just give you the gold here.
Yeah, I like Chubba. Honestly, he kind of disappointed me a bit. When CMC went down, it was one of those moments where it was like, holy shit, I made the right call. I kind of overpaid to get Chubba Hubbard on my roster. So that way, if CMC goes down, I have a guy who I believe in. And then, he did fine. 3.6 yards per carry is okay. He wasn't that much of a factor in the receiving game, which is pretty frustrating when he's on the team that Christian fucking McCaffrey's on. You think he'd get some targets, but he didn't really. 600 yards is pretty good on 172 attempts. So he's a decent little player. But I just would have liked to see more when you get a rookie who comes in and gets an opportunity like that where the door is kind of open for him, and it didn't blow me away. Let's put it that way. It was fine, and it kind of makes me think that that's because my whole thing last year going into the draft is that I thought that if Chubba got an opportunity, he could show that maybe he was closer to 2019 Chubba Hubbard than 2020 and maybe pop off. And when he didn't, it does make me feel like, okay, so maybe 2020 Chubba is what we're going to get. And he's going to be a good to better than average backup in the NFL and, maybe have like a cult following or whatever because of his, like fun name and like everyone thinking he was going to be the number one running back there for like a year. So I don't know. Maybe you guys can talk some sense into me, but I was just kind of disappointed given the amount of opportunity he got.
Yeah, I mean, you look at a player in this situation, and he couldn't have asked for a better chance at really proving himself, and it was serviceable at best. And that's nothing to be excited about. And it's not going to afford you opportunities, say, if CMC is healthy. You're not going to eat into his workload.
No.
I mean, you are, because CMC is apparently slowly dying, as we all are. So, just to spell him, Hubbard's going to get some looks, but you want to see some flash along with those touches. Otherwise, you might as well be Larry Roundtree or whatever. Because you're not doing anything special on the field. You're just an NFL caliber athlete. So
yeah,
you're a badass, but you're not. Yeah,
it's nothing to scoff at, but it's nothing that you necessarily need on your roster, other than having CMC and needing the handcuff. That's really about it that you would want him for at this point, unless he pops off. But yeah, exactly. I love the way you put it there. It's just you want to see flashes, and he was just serviceable. Like you didn't see anything that made you go, damn, like that was such an awesome play, Chubba. But it was just kind of like, oh, even when he scored a touchdown, I was like, yeah, good job. Nice.
Right.
Nice
that's what anyone would have done in that situation. Score a touchdown. Okay, well, let's roll on to Mr. Kenny Gainwell. The old 211. See, that's what I'm talking about, man. 211. That's great. That's like the AJ Dillon level from the previous year. I don't know why. Just hating on this class all of a sudden. The research, man. But as mentioned earlier, Kenny Gainwell led his team in red zone targets. So hey, nothing to get too upset about. Let's see. He's playing with Miles Sanders. Did they add Kennedy Brooks? Undrafted free agent signing there.
See, Kenny Gainwell.
What do you get paid, though?
You tell me, man. 200,000? Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's pretty good free agent contract right there. Yeah, what's up, man?
Go ahead.
No, you're good. I was just gonna say Kenny Gainwell kind of fits into the Nyheim Hines, J.D. McKissic role, and I'm fine with that for him.
Yeah.
Like I would love to have Kenny Gainwell on my roster as a guy to throw in when I'm in a shitstorm. I need a guy I did it with Hines and McKissic all the time. You have an injury, you throw a guy in who catches a decent amount of passes, and you hope he pops off one week. But he's never going to be consistent enough for you to start him every single week. I do have him as a borderline starter, just because he's not a hold. You want him on your roster, in my opinion, because he does things for that offense. He's going to get chances. He led the team in red zone targets, which I know you pointed out it's only one more than Devonta Smith, but still, I mean, he's still getting looks in the red zone, and that's something you want out of a boomer bust guy. You want them to get looks in the red zone. And so a guy who led their team in targets in the red zone, perfect. Sign me up at a cheap price. Like I'm not going to break the bank or anything to get Kenny on my roster, but I like him. I like him as a little flex piece, a little here and there starter. I like him. I think he's going to have a good career.
Yeah, I really like him too. He played quarterback in high school, so He's the best. One thing that puts a little bit of sadness in my heart is that Miles Sanders missed time,
Yeah,
and
that's fair.
he missed 8, 9, and 10, weeks 8, 9, and 10. And in his absence, Kenny Gainwell got 17 carries and 1 target. And 13 of those carries were in one game, the first game. And so it hurts. I like him. I'm putting him in the hold, but
Okay.
I think in a more balanced offense, which this offense seems like it's heading the right direction. It was really kind of a Jalen Hurts experiment that went. It was like one of those experiments where you're putting together your pitch for an investor, and they're like, "Oh, that went well enough that we'll give you some more money to see what else you can do." That's kind of where we're at with Jalen Hurts. Like he's getting more of an opportunity, and it was a trial last year, and so we'll see if the consistency and kind of a solidified role for some of these supporting guys like Kenny Gainwell can be more consistent as the quarterback play becomes more consistent.
Yeah.
So that's
And
where I'm at with him.
I mean, we talked about it in our last episode with Devonta Smith and AJ Brown. It does kind of rely on Jalen Hurts to, take advantage of that experiment of letting him do it again next year, and he's got to do good. He's got to make it more efficient. And yeah, I think if he can, then Kenny Gainwell slides right in there and can be an effective role player for you for sure.
Well, I'm just going to go ahead and say the next player up was the 2-1.
Holler.
The 2-1 in our rookie draft. And the proud Poppy over there.
3-1.
3-1. There you go.
Yeah, Elijah Mitchell, I couldn't be more excited about him. It was definitely one of my guys, and it's fun to see one of those guys pop off. There's still some areas of concern. He needs to be more involved in the receiving game, or he's not really going to – I mean, you kind of need more than 19 receptions in a season to be a viable, fantasy starter in a PPR league. The injury concerns are going to be always over the head after the first rookie year, kind of getting hurt a couple times, especially with how frustrating the running backs room in San Francisco always is anyway. If he gets hurt and one guy slides in and has a good game, then they're going to ride with that game. With that guy. That's how they always do it. But there's some stuff to be really, really excited about with Mitchell. 4.7 yards per carry. That's fucking awesome. You want to see that. You also, another exciting stat is his yards after contact per attempt, which he was at 2.54, which ranked him 5th in the league last year behind names like Jonathan Taylor and Nick Chubb. So that's going to be something you're really looking forward to. He can he takes those hits and keeps playing, and he's just a solid running back. And as long as they don't fuck it up, and as long as he can stay healthy, I think it's going to be awesome. Because here's another little fun fact about Elijah Mitchell. He faced either base defensive packages or light front defensive packages 86% of the time. So only 14% of the time was he going up against a stacked box. I like that number. Let's keep that number around 14%, because that's going to give Mitchell the opportunity to bust out and kind of have these games, because he kind of will be the forgotten man when you've got George Kittle out there and Deebo Samuel running all his crazy ass shit, and Brandon Ayuk. We never know what's going to go on with Brandon Ayuk, so you got to pay attention to him. There's a bunch of names out here, so if we can keep the defense off of Elijah Mitchell, he has shown that he can take advantage of those weaker fronts. I mean, he popped off for 963 yards as a 6th-round pick rookie. That's awesome. We want to keep him going, and I'm really excited to see what he does.
Well, I can tell you that you're alone there. No one else is excited.
That's fair.
To see what he can do. Just fucking with you. Obviously, it's a win. This is a guy, we were all into him, man.
That's fair.
No, Pre-draft, we were definitely all into him. It became an insider RDR feud when him and Sermon went to the same place.
That's fair.
What do you think, man? I know. So for Trey Sermon, the Ty Davis price is like a nail in the coffin.
Yeah.
But do you see that addition as being like Brian Robinson to Antonio Gibson-esque for Elijah Mitchell, considering the size difference and kind of what the potential is for Ty Davis price and the red zone and whatnot?
I definitely, yeah. It's a worry, especially with the 3rd round price tag on him. That San Francisco put on. It was 3rd round, right? I always get this shit confused. But with that price tag on him, it's obviously a concern. But also, I mean, Elijah Mitchell only had 207 attempts last year. So if he can stay around that with a similar level of production, like it's not going to be that crazy, you know. Now, is he going to pop off for 4.7 yards per carry every single year? Probably not. That's pretty unsustainable. But I don't think he needs to be a dominant guy. Now, where it is concerning is exactly what you said. It's the red zone. If he starts getting his touchdowns taken away, he ended with 6 last year total. That's going to hurt him. He needs those touchdowns to be a viable guy. I don't know that Elijah Mitchell will ever be a superstar, but as long as he can produce the way he did his rookie season, he's going to be a viable starter for you. And I don't think necessarily having a second fiddle or like even a 50-50 split guy to Elijah Mitchell is going to hurt him that bad, because he takes advantage of defenses, what the defense gives him with all the other weapons on the field. So he's just efficient. He's an efficient runner. One of the things I liked about him in college, and it's just, you know, it's a worry for sure. I see where what the point, like bringing it up is, but I'm not, it doesn't scare me as much as Gibson to Robinson, to be honest with you.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I was just kind of putting it all together because the opportunity is definitely there. They don't have a J.D. McKissick, so if Elijah Moore gets back into a receiving role, which was a part of his game in college, then that's just more points on top of it.
Yeah,
but if you want to talk about less points on top of it, the next guy up, the 3-6, is Javion Hawkins.
Yeah, he's not even in the league anymore. I think it's easy to call him a bust.
Okay. Lance, good job. Just draft all the Atlanta rookies. Get it right one of these days. Well, if we're calling him a bust, then let's move on to what should have been the 311, but ended up as the 312. Ramondre Stevenson. So he got 5 touchdowns, 600 yards. Caught more balls than I would have guessed. 14, 123. So he's got Damian Harris, and then obviously they are not satisfied with their running back room or the long-term possibilities, because they went with Pierre Strong Jr. And also Jacob Harris. Is that his name? There's another guy in there named
the South Carolina guy, Kevin Harris.
Fun.
So, yep.
Yeah, I don't think we talk about it enough that this was one of AJ's guys that he was all on board with. And yeah, I mean, it worked out at 4.5 yards per carry. Just like Elijah Mitchell before him, a really good yards per carry, and then a really good yards after contact per attempt. He was at 2.7, which actually had him above where Elijah Mitchell was at. He doesn't really do a lot in the receiving game. I mean, it was more than expected, but still you want to see that go up. And then there's a lot of competition. It like kind of the parallels, not in play style or size or anything, but between Elijah Mitchell's situation and Ramondre's situation are kind of interesting. I mean, New England's another backfield that you can never really lock down, and there's a lot of competition there. But Ramondre's proven that he can do it, and they're going to ride with him for sure. They got rid of Sony Michel, and you got Damian Harris there still, but Ramondre proved that he's earned time in that offense. So good job, EJ.
Hey, thanks.
Good job,
I appreciate
buddy.
that. It means a lot coming from an RB guru like yourself. Kennedy Brooks, I mean, is basically a clone of Ramondre, so you heard it here first. That's like
There you
my
go.
slogan here. So
Alrighty. Well, yeah, Ramondre Stevenson's awesome. I drafted him in the startup and flipped him for a first. So, what it do, baby?
let's go.
Woo! I added Khalil Herbert on here. He wasn't drafted, but I think he was a notable name out of this class. Someone we kind of all foaming for. Big Rock Chalk moved to Virginia Tech, and he's up in Chicago. Got a little bit of action behind David Montgomery. Put up 400 yards and 2 touchdowns, and showed really, really impressive ability on the field. And kind of just going to see where that goes. He's a hold clearly, but someone I thought we should mention.
I actually have him as a starter.
You got him as a starter. Guys, got him as a starter.
This is a projection. This is a projection. For the record, I don't think he's a starter this year. Obviously, he's the backup to David Montgomery. But David Montgomery is a free agent at the end of this year, and I think Khalil Herbert is going to see an increased workload because I think the Bears genuinely liked what they saw from Khalil Herbert last season. They gave him 103 attempts, and he produced 433 yards, 2 touchdowns. I think they want to see if they don't need to sign David Montgomery. I think Khalil Herbert's going to get a decent amount of opportunities this season, and I think he could end up proving that they can let Montgomery walk. Let's not pay the running back. Let's pay all these other positions that we need to surround Justin Fields with, because Khalil Herbert can move the ball. And so, yeah, is he a starter right now? No. But I think he played well enough in his limited role that I actually project him as a future starter.
Okay. Yeah, I'll take that. It's got to do more with Matt Nagy not being in town. I think that gives him a huge bump because if you look at it, he had an opportunity earlier in the season, and he did really well with that opportunity. And it looks like over 90% of his yards were in a 4-game stretch, which means he was able to handle the workload. But inept coaching kept him off the field once. It couldn't become a 2-back backfield, which is just dumb.
Yeah, and then look at the offensive coordinator they just brought in, Luke Getsy. I'm sure we'll talk about him later when we get into the quarterbacks, but he is a guy who came from an offense that has 2 running backs who actively run all the time. So, of course, you would think he's going to do that with Montgomery and Herbert.
Hell yeah. Well, you say quarterback, and I say quarterbacks. Let's get into the quarterbacks, man. Straight up off the top here. Let's scroll up and reset. The 1-7. Wow. The 1-7. Yikes. Trevor Lawrence.
Woo.
Jacksonville.
T-Law.
Yeah. Urban Meyer. Party time in Jacksonville. He's a quarterback, y'all. So, what the hell? He's a starter?
Yeah, I got him as a starter. I think he gets a wash for the Urban Meyer experience, but it is worth noting 12 touchdowns against 17 picks is not a great start.
No.
And then also when you notice that Trevor Lawrence led the league in the NFL last year with an interceptable passes rate, according to Player Profiler, with 50 interceptable passes. That's 50. That seems like quite a bit. If all of them had been intercepted, that would break several records. But I do think Lawrence showed enough of what everyone was so excited about him for. And now with Doug Peterson in the role, not a fucking idiot who would rather party at his own bar and not pay attention to his team, I think that's going to help him a lot. And I think it's going to lead him to kind of using those traits that you saw, because you saw it sometimes. You saw the crazy throws. You saw the great arm. You saw the mobility in the pocket with the reading downfield. You saw the things that you like about Trevor Lawrence. That was a shit show last year. I think he gets a wash.
Yeah, I didn't really know what to say about him because of everything you just said. But yeah, a lot of picks. Let's just hope he's ready to reset and give it another go. Not carry any baggage. It's hard not to carry baggage out of that past season with Urban Meyer and everything, but you got to move on. You know, I'll put it down. I'm going to not say Urban Meyer's name anymore.
Okay.
I'm just going to never acknowledge his existence unless we're going Buckeye. Unless we're talking Buckeyes, then you got to do it. But
That's fair.
woo, talking about doing it, talking about Buckeyes, talking about Justin Fields in the house.
I knew
man.
it was a segue coming.
Yeah, I try. You know, you guys love my segues, so I try to give the people what they want. No one's ever asked for more segues, but so Justin Fields is in the house.
On Segway tours too.
Okay,
Boom,
boom, nailed it. Damn, dude, fucking cold. Let's see. He missed 5 games. You know, he did throw 10 picks. This is kind of a wash as well.
Yeah, 100%.
And there's a lot of that going on here. I love Justin Fields. I still think that he has extreme potential. You know, we talked about Getsy being the OC and what that means for him as far as being a mobile quarterback and the kind of the sky's the limit. The Bears seem to be rebuilding.
What the fuck the Bears are doing?
Because they didn't. I mean, it's one thing not to give your quarterback any weapons, but you have to kind of approach it as a long-term plan at that point. We've seen it happen 100 times, but usually you throw a vet in there or something like that. But they're just going to roll with it. So we'll see what happens. I don't expect Justin Fields to take a huge step forward in his second year, but I do expect him to have 100% snap count. And that's a step in the right direction compared to last year. I think he's going to have some hot games, but he's a starter. Long-term fantasy value, I think he's probably top 10 in my book.
Yeah, I mean, he's a starter. I got him on hold right now just because I'm not overly thrilled with what the Bears did outside of improving their coaching staff. I mean, You didn't really bring him in a weapon. You brought in Velus Jones, who's interesting but old for a rookie. But hey, I don't know. I'm really interested to see how Luke Getsy and Justin Fields work together. You know, Fields' stats were all over the place. He didn't really run as much as you would hope he would, especially not like running out and throwing, like barely any bootleg motion or anything like that, which is weird for a guy that can move. His yards per attempt were 6.9, and you compare that to Aaron Rodgers with 7.7. I mean, obviously he's Aaron Rodgers, but Luke Getsy is coming from that offense, so you'd think Getsy's going to get him out of the pocket more, try to use his legs a little bit more, and kind of let him unload it. It's kind of on Fields to see if we can maybe learn what little we can take from last year and move it into a better sophomore season.
Absolutely. Yeah, it was a kind of a sad yards per rush attempt number, but it was way better than what Trevor Lawrence did on the ground. So
that's true.
Have that one for your stat book. T-Law. So what about Trey Lance. How about that? What did I say? This guy is going to play some football in 2021. I was wrong. He's going to play. Maybe he'll play some football in 2022. This is getting goddamn ridiculous, man.
Yeah.
Talk about a team that I don't really want to put any predictions on. San Francisco, man. It's ridiculous.
No, I mean, Trey Lance is a hold, and yeah, it's because we don't know what the fuck is going on. It seems like there's some tension there. It seems like maybe all those reports that Kyle Shanahan wanted maybe Mac Jones and John Lynch was the more Trey Lance guy. Maybe that is causing some friction there. I've been reading or hearing a little bit about that. It's weird, but he's a hold. He has to be a hold. He didn't do anything last year, and now we don't even know if he's going to be the starter this year. It's just weird. But if he does play, just like everything we said last year when he got taken, he can be a guy who can change your fantasy roster because of his legs. So I don't know. You definitely want to hold on to him, but it's a weird one. I'm not super thrilled about San Francisco.
Yeah, I don't have much to say because it
There's
could
not
just be
much.
speculation. We
Yeah.
could say whatever we want, like we did last year, and then not even get to see what he does
Yeah.
on the field. So, yeah, I guess he's definitely a hold.
Yeah.
Feel a lot better after if Jimmy G were to take a walk. But when you're a competitive team, it's just a risk you're not willing to take. It makes sense, but from our perspective, it's got to be aggravating to watch it happen and just wonder why and when and what the f.
Yeah. What the
So
hell?
evidently, Kyle Shanahan's a little sensitive, So whatever. So talk about your passing yard leader of the class, Mac Jones.
Skipping one.
Jones. We skipping Zach Wilson?
Oh shit, Zach Wilson.
I mean, there's not a ton to say about Zach Wilson, I guess. So if we're gonna skip a guy, it's fair. A guy who was hurt most of last year and then came in and went here or there. But the Jets are pretty newly rebuilt again. So all my excitement for Zach Wilson is back. So he's a hold.
Okay. Yeah, I think hold sounds good. I like the potential of Zach Wilson, but yeah, I don't have anything fancy to say about him.
Yeah,
One of these
I
days
don't.
we'll go deep on the quarterbacks and we'll get you guys the nitty gritty. But
I got
tagging
some
them
nitty.
into another 18 guys is kind of you get the spark notes on these QBs and these guys don't have a lot to write home about. Except
Yeah.
Mac Jones had a pretty good
He
rookie year.
did indeed.
3,800 yards, only threw 13 picks, threw 22 touchdowns, and that's on a team that went a game with like only 4 pass attempts.
Yeah.
So, take that out of there and starting to look like a pretty strong performance considering the supporting cast and the wide receiver room in New England and just a general approach to keeping the ball on the ground and relying on your defense or whatever you want to say. And Cam Newton was there for a little while as well. So
That's
I
weird.
guess that's not happening anymore. Now he's got to deal with Bailey Zappi. So
Hell yeah.
don't mess up, man. Zap your ass out of there.
I did get a little into the weeds and a little deep for
Oh.
anybody getting angry about us talking about quarterbacks. Let me throw out some interesting stats here about Mac Jones' rookie season. Mac Jones played against man coverage more than anyone else in the league. 77.8% of the time he was facing man coverage. And I think it could be because people picked up pretty early that if you play zone against this man, he's going to tear your ass up because he was completing 87% of his passes against zone coverage. And so people just seemed to kind of move it away from him, which is impressive for a rookie. I mean, that 87% pass completion rate against zone coverage was number 1 in the league out of everyone. That's insane for a rookie, especially for Matt Jones, the guy that we all were kind of hot or cold on. Interceptable passes, he had 25, which is half as much as Trevor Lawrence, which puts him right dead center in the middle of the NFL as far as that stat is concerned at 16. With all this stuff, I think Mac Jones has already proved what his floor is. He's Alex Smith with better upside. But I think that's the worst you're going to get out of him is Alex Smith. He's a highly efficient passer of the ball who's not going to cost you many games. And that's probably why Bill Belichick loved him so much. And if we can get him maybe some more impactful weapons, you could see his numbers start to rise.
Hell yeah, enter Tyquan Thornton.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there you go. If you can go hard with it,
Devontae Parker.
Yeah, let's go. But I honestly think Mac Jones could maybe potentially move up to stud category if he can find a way to increase that production without sacrificing his efficiency.
Hell yeah, man. I'm all for it. The last thing I want to see is another stud quarterback in New England, but feels like they're doing it the right way, you know?
Yeah.
They're taking what came to them and, you know, develop a pretty solid guy out of a, you know, a pro-ready offense coming out of Alabama and just prove that he's worth the first round capital. I don't know. It got a little weird, I think. All the rumors around the draft and where Mac Jones was going to end up and how it all went down. It's kind of cool. You kind of got to cheer for him a little bit, you know?
Yeah.
So, okay. Well, I'm glad that you got deep on that quarterback because I was, you know, I was like, shit, man, quarterbacks. They're always at the end, and I'm like, quarterbacks, you know? So that was awesome, man.
Fun.
You spiced it up in a heavy way, so. Well, you spiced us right into the tight end category.
Woo!
So,
not a lot of those guys in this draft.
No. Kyle Pitts, you know, he's the guy that he's supposed to change the world. A lot of those supposed to change the world guys in this draft class. And I think Kyle Pitts is about to really have an opportunity to build on a pretty solid rookie year. Well, 1 touchdown. It's a little disappointing, but he did have 1,000 yards, and that offense was Cordero Patterson and then Garbage Town. So anything can be better than that, I believe. You got Drake London in there to take a little bit of the heat off of him, give him the opportunity to get some more of those red zone looks, and now you got Desmond Ridder and Marcus Mariota, so a little bit more question marks compared to Matt Ryan. But Matt Ryan didn't really have a great year last year, so there's nothing to say that Kyle Pitts couldn't have a step forward. It kind of feels like he's going to. I think he's definitely a stud in the tight end game, which is a shallow pool, so he's definitely in the deep end.
I think, to your point, if he had, say, 6 touchdowns, I think we're talking about him in an entirely different light, because 1,000 yards for a rookie tight end is pretty goddamn impressive. Especially getting 110 targets now. Like you're saying, he was the only guy there, so it was a little skewed. But he's a guy that already has a top 10 tight end finish. I feel like we're only looking up from here. So, yeah, Kyle Pitts is a stud. He's going to be the next in that era of like Kelsey, Waller, Kittle, like that type of guy that can really change your fantasy roster. He's almost like starting a tight end or a wide receiver at your tight end spot some weeks. So yeah, couldn't be more excited about Pitts.
Yeah, I feel like, you know, as good as it was, you know, tight end 6 in the PPR format. Yeah, it's like, you know, where's the rest? It's there. You know it's there. You know it's coming. So, yeah, you know, someone who had more of a touchdown-dependent production and less of a yardage was Pat Freiermuth, you know?
Ooh.
Yeah. He had I like this guy, you know? I like him quite a bit. If you look at 7 touchdowns, like, shit, you know, that's pretty incredible.
That's good.
And it was a little spread out. He definitely was heating up after the bye week, kind of down the stretch in the second half. I think he's going to lock that role in. He proved that he was extremely reliable. The catch rate, pretty awesome. You know, 79 targets, caught 60 of them. That's extremely reliable. Kenny Pickett's going to want a guy with sure hands, and then the red zone, you can't go wrong with this guy, you know, unless George Pickens comes in with the vacuum just sucking the balls out of the air. But
possibly
13 in the PPR.
Go ahead.
I would say 13th as a finish in the PPR format for a rookie is pretty unheard of. You know, you can't really compare him to Kyle Pitts, generational, you know, whatever you want to say.
Yeah, I mean, Freiermuth's always going to be Robin to Kyle Pitts Batman for sure as far as 2021 tight end rookies go. But to be honest, Exactly. He's reliable. He's on a good offense. I really like the potential of Jelani Woods, but I want Pratt Firemouth over every single tight end in this current rookie class, and it's not particularly close. So, I mean, that's a huge stat. Like Pat Firemouth in almost every other draft class would probably be the number one tight end, I guess is my point. But he just happened to be the same year as Kyle Pitts. So I see Firemouth had, if you take his touchdowns, reel him in just a little bit, he had a pretty typical tight end rookie season, like less than 500 yards, a few touchdowns. But if he can improve on that, and like you're saying, Kenny Pickett's going to want a guy all reliable over the middle there. I like Frymouth a lot. I'd love to get my hands on him if I could. But, obviously just Kyle Pitts is Kyle Pitts. So.
Yeah, for our fantasy listeners out there, and I don't know if I can find this. Oh, yeah, here we go. Frymouth recently changed hands in our main For the Belt League.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and it required to acquire him, someone had to give up a first and Ronald Jones to get Freiermuth and a second. So the price is high.
Mm-hmm.
The price is high.
Mm-hmm.
The price is high. Mm-hmm. And, just even going back, you say you like him better than all rookies in this most recent class. You look at the class before that where Cole Kmet was kind of the only salvageable. So you're really going back, if you look at the past 4 years, you're looking at Hawkinson, you're looking at Noah Fant, and then you got Kyle Pitts and then Pat Freiermuth. And it's kind of, it's just opportunity after that.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's definitely solid, extremely serviceable, and someone to definitely be excited about, and I believe is very established with the Steelers. So
yeah.
Okay, so what do you call him? A starter or a stud on that? I don't know.
I got him as a starter for now, stud potential for sure.
Okay, yeah, I'm with you. I think if they can't lock in long term for Deontay Johnson, like that, he's a guy that benefits from those over the middle targets if that opportunity opens up in the future. So, okay, well, last guy of the episode here, I believe, is Brevin Jordan.
Woo!
Brev.
Man, what a guy. I know that I was super excited about him. And he went somewhere to the Houston Texans and just had the opportunity to make a name for himself. But I don't think it didn't really go how I thought it would. He didn't get any action really through the first half of the year. And then when he did, it was kind of hit or miss. He had 1 7-target game that was exciting. But over the whole season, there's only 28 targets, which he turned into 3 touchdowns on 20 catches, which you can't be mad about that. But you got to step it up. You got to feed him more. So that's where I'm holding and hoping. There was some exodus, right? Jordan Akins out of town.
Mm-hmm.
And Warren is out of there too, I believe. What is that guy's name?
I got him as a starter, actually. And this may be just because he absolutely ate my lunch the other day while I was playing Madden against the computer. Brevin Jordan went off on me for 10 catches for 191 yards and a touchdown. Just every time Houston went to throw the ball, it seemed like it was going to him. So maybe I'm confusing PlayStation fantasy fun football with real life, but the opportunities are still there. Like you're saying, Jordan Atkins is out the door. He was efficient. You can't take that away from him in his very limited opportunities. Only 8 targets not turning into a catch, and then 3 touchdowns on 20 catches, like you said, is really fucking good. So maybe he didn't get the amount of work we were hoping for last year, but Houston has to look at it and be like, okay, well, when we gave him chances, he did well. I mean, even if you think about it, 20 catches on or 178 yards on 20 catches. What is that? Almost 9 yards a catch. That's pretty good for a tight end, you know?
Yeah.
Like he did the thing. He just didn't get the amount of opportunities. So maybe Texans letting Jordan Atkins walk. Maybe it is Brevin Jordan time. Maybe he is going to start going off for 10 catches and 191 yards. Wouldn't that be something?
Oh, that would be so sweet. It would be. Yeah, that'd be nice. I think the chance is there. Honestly, he's that 6'3", 245, pure kind of pass catching tight end.
Yeah.
And opportunities are widely available with the Texans. He just got to step up or whatever, step into more opportunity. And there's no way that he's not on the field given the depth chart now.
Yeah, like he has to be.
Yep. So, yeah, I'm all for it, man. We got faith in you, Brevin, so step it up. You got this. Got this shit. So, I think that's it, fellas.
Woo!
I think we did it.
The one.
So, thanks.
2020 class.
2020 class.
The forever class. Forever 2020.
Nailed it. So take your fake rhinestones. Get gone. This has been a Rough Draft Research production. Must Love Diggs and all things associated.
That's it. We out.
Appreciate.
High and tight.